Hey y'all, so I'm back. I have another dream and scripture to go over. Earlier I posted one, but I had to go do some errands, and then I got back and I was like, I'll just do this tomorrow, and then I got a verse about not waiting till tomorrow about something. So here I go. My confirmation verse is Ezekiel 3:27. It says, "But when I speak to you, I will open your mouth, and you shall say to them, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Whoever will listen, let them listen, and whoever will refuse, let them refuse, for they are a rebellious people." Before I get into the dream, I need to talk about what is something in real life. So sometimes I go for a walk in the morning, and there is a house that I noticed that didn't cut their backyard. Okay, so do I care what people's lawn looks like? No, absolutely not. I don't care. But this house is on the corner, and so I have to go around to the side, and the next road on the side goes up like this. So as I'm walking up, I can literally see inside their entire backyard, and all I saw was weeds that were as tall as the fence. And then I saw that there was a retaining wall. So the first part is like really flat, and then where the yard starts to go up, there's a retaining wall, and then more weeds. And all I could think was like, man, how are they gonna get that top level cut? I wonder if they have to like lift up the lawnmower. You know, that's all I thought about. It had nothing to do with criticizing their lawn care. Okay, I don't know anything about them. I don't know, you know, why they let it get that way. It's not my business. But on another day, I went for a walk, and everything was cut, and I was like, oh wow, that they cut it. It looks great. I still wonder how they got that lawnmower on the second one. Man, they probably have to have two people lift it and put it up there. So that is important, because in my dream, I went to that house, but it didn't look anything like that house, and there wasn't a back fence, but the backyard was the same, and I was just admiring the lawn, and I kept going back and forth, like from one side of the house looking at the backyard, and going in the front again and looking at that side, and then the front door opened, and they're like, Angela, what are you doing? And in my dream, I knew these people, so I don't know. So I go in there, and I'm like, oh yeah, I just noticed how you guys cut your grass, and it looks so great. And I walked in there, and she invited me in, and she's there with her kids, and her husband, whoever this person is in my dream, is at the table, and he's feeding a baby. And then I look over at him, and I'm like, you did such a great job on the lawn care, and who would have thought that your lawn was so beautiful? Like, I just kept going on and on with the positive comments. And so that was the end of the dream. It was about them cutting their grass, and me talking to him about doing such an amazing job cutting the grass. Now, later I heard the word positive encouragement. And so then I thought, that's what I was doing in the dream. I was giving him positive encouragement about taking control of the weed situation and really making beautiful what was there. And then on a vision I had that I was not sleeping, I saw a flower, but specifically it was an iris, and then I saw the petal fly away. And then about an iris, by the way, like, you know how flowers can like symbolize things or stand for something. I know an iris is said to stand for faith and hope. So that's why I thought, okay, what does an iris stand for? Because that was the iris in my dream. So the little petal flew away. And then on two different occasions, I heard like a sound of water, like a drop of water into a bucket. So it was like, you know, the way water sounds, but it was one drop into a bucket. And then like a couple days later, I heard one that sounded like someone tossed a penny in a bucket, right? But it's an idiom that means a drop in the bucket, which is like, it means like something small in the grand scheme of things. So that was a symbol, like it was a sound, so it wasn't anything that I saw. I heard what sounded like a drop in a bucket, like a water droplet, and then a penny or like a coin in a bucket. And so that's where I was like, okay, it sounds like a drop in the bucket. And then of course the idiom, again, it means just something small in the grand scheme of things. And then I heard a certain tune of a song, and I had to look it up because it's not in English. It's not an English song. So I had to find the song and play it with the translation going so I could hear the part that she was singing that I heard in my dream. I can't explain it because it's not the whole song. It's just I heard a certain part of the song and I'm like, okay, well, this is what she sounds like when she's speaking, so I'm gonna play this song until I find that part and read what the lyric translates to. And the lyric translates to nothing left but the scent of a flower. And that is all the stuff that goes with this whole dream thing. All those things go together. And then I got the verse this morning, and so it's not really a verse, it's actually an entire chapter. It's Isaiah chapter 40, and I'm going to read it because I tried to be like, okay, well, how far should I read, and where could I stop or pick up so I didn't have to read the whole thing. But I don't feel good about not reading the whole thing, so bear with me. It's not a long chapter, it's a little bit, but I'll read it, okay? So it's Isaiah chapter 40, and it says, Comfort, comfort my people, says your God. Speak tenderly to Jerusalem and proclaim to her that her hard service has been completed, that her sin has been paid for, that she has received from the Lord's hand double for all her sins. A voice of one calling in the wilderness, prepare the way for the Lord, make straight in the desert a highway for our God. I'm going to come back to that at the end of this. And I'm at verse 4 now. It says, every valley shall be raised up, every mountain and hill made low. The rough ground shall become level, the rugged places a plain, and the glory of the Lord will be revealed, and all people will see it together, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken. A voice says, cry out. And I said, what shall I cry? All the people are like grass, and all the faithlessness is like the flowers of a field. The grass withers and the flowers fall because the breath of the Lord blows on them. Surely the people are grass. The grass withers and the flowers fall, but the word of our God endures forever. You who bring good news to Zion, go up on a high mountain. You who bring good news to Jerusalem, lift up your voice with a shout. Lift it up and do not be afraid. Say to the towns of Judah, here is your God. See, the sovereign Lord comes with power, and he rules with a mighty arm. See, his reward is with him, and his recompense accompanies him. He tends his flock like a shepherd. He gathers the lambs in his arm and carries them close to his heart. He gently leads he gently leads those that have young. Who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, or with the breadth of his hand marked of the heavens? Who has held the dust of the earth in the basket, or weighed the mountains on the scales and the hills in a balance? Who can fathom the spirit of the Lord, or instruct the Lord as his counselor? Whom did the Lord consult to enlighten him? And who taught him the right way? Who was it that taught him knowledge, or showed him the path of understanding? Surely the nations are like a drop in the bucket. They are regarded as dust on the scales. He weighs the islands as though they are fine dust. Lebanon is not sufficient for fire or for altar fires, nor its animals enough for burnt offerings. Before him all the nations are as nothing. They are regarded by him as worthless and less than nothing. To whom then will you compare God? To what image will you liken him? As for an idol, a metal worker casts it, and a goldsmith overlays it with gold, and fashions silver chains for it. A person too poor to present such an offering selects wood that will not rot, They look for a skilled worker to set up an idol that will not topple. Do you know? Have you not heard? Has it not been told you from the beginning? Have you not understood since the earth was founded? He sits enthroned above the circle of the earth, and its people are like grasshoppers. He stretches out the heavens like a canopy and spreads them out like a tent to live in. He brings princes to naught and reduces the rulers of the world to nothing. No sooner are they planted, no sooner are they sown, no sooner do they take root in the ground, then he blows on them and they wither, and a whirlwind sweeps them away like chaff. To whom will you compare me? Or who is my equal, says the Holy One? Lift up your eyes and look to the heavens. Who created all this? He who brings out the starry host one by one and calls forth each of them by name. Because of his great power and mighty strength, not one of them is missing. Why do you complain, Jacob? Why do you say, Israel, my way is hidden from the Lord, my cause is disregarded by my God? Do you not know? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. Now that whole chapter, it's called Comfort for God's People. But in my Living Bible translation, it says encouragement for God's people. So it goes back to in the dream where I kept encouraging. One thing I forgot to say was, or did I say it? I don't know. I kept hearing positive encouragement, but it was in the tune of the song for K-Love. If you guys listen to K-Love, their jingle is like positive encouragement, you know? So that's how I heard it, was in a jingle. But this whole verse is encouragement, because if you don't lean on these idols, if you don't go wasting your life away following idols where he's just going to blow you away, that he will strengthen you. So that's the hope, is at the end of chapter 40, it says, again, those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. And then I have one more verse, but it was so funny how I got this verse, because this morning, my husband and I, we read the Bible together in the morning, and we had decided we were just going to start from the beginning and read in the order of the Bible. And we had finished 1 Samuel yesterday, and so today we would have started 2 Samuel. But out of nowhere, my husband's like, do you want to start 2 Samuel, or do you want to read something else? And then I said, how about 1 Peter, okay? Or how about the Peters, is what I said. And as we were reading, I was like, oh my gosh, because I had already wrote down my notes for this morning. And so I'm going to go to 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 24. And in that it says, for all people are like grass, and all their glory is like the flowers of the field. The grass withers and the flowers fall, but the word of the Lord endures forever. And this is the word that is preached to you. So again, another verse talking about grass and flowers, which in my dream, you know, I saw that house where that guy had cut his grass and cut all the weeds down, and the lawn looked great, and he did such a good job cutting the grass. So, you know, that's the message, is if you follow idols and you don't work on your relationship with God, and you don't turn to him, and you don't acknowledge everything that he has done and honor him as the one true God, he's gonna, like in the description, his breath is just going to blow away the flowers. They're just going to fly away, and the grass is going to wither, and it's going to be nothing. But you look toward God and you give him glory and you praise him, he will give you strength, and he will renew you, or renew your strength. So again, guys, I always say it, and if you're tired of hearing it, I don't know that I'll ever stop saying it. So always find the light. Thanks, guys. Bye.